I'm back again to tell you or show you some things about the new ChatGPT 4.0, the advanced voice. I made a couple of videos already, had a couple of people, not very many, but a couple of people seem to think, oh, it's not the real thing. You're just the old voice, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm going to prove it to you. So to get rid of my naysayers on this. So hopefully it'll satisfy you on this. I realize that maybe the device is not putting out the information at as fast as you would think it should or doing some of the things that it should, but I'm going to give you three ways to prove to you that I am actually using the alpha advanced version. First of all, you receive an email, which is what I got. I received an email from ChatGPT saying that I was a part of a small group of people that would be testing out this particular new feature. Second of all, I wish I'd have done this last time. I didn't know it was going to be a big deal. On this, you can see it on the screen. Get out here where I can see it. See that where it says advanced at the top? That's the advanced version. And if you click on it, you can change it to the standard version. But look, it says advanced. So and then the other thing that I didn't ever do while I was practicing this is I didn't interrupt it. On the original version, if you asked it something, it would just blabber on until it finished its thing. But with the advanced version, you can interrupt it. So tell me about what a blue butterfly does as it flies through the air.
As blue butterflies flutter through the air, their iridescent wings catch the light.
Okay, hang on a second. I want you to do it with a lot of drama.
Behold, as the blue butterfly dances through the air, its iridescent wings transform sunlight into a dazzling display of nature's...
Thank you. That's enough.
You're welcome. If you need more info, dramatic or not, just let me know.
The other thing you can see is you can turn the microphone on and off, because if you don't, it'll just always listen and it'll start talking. So those three things prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that I have the alpha version, and how it responds, I have no control over. Now that that's out of the way, I want to get back to doing the actual fun stuff that you can do with this. And I'm sure it's going to improve over time. Again, this is still being tested so that if they can improve it when they let it roll out to everyone. All right. One of the things I found out that you could do that's interesting, and some of these things I'm sure you could probably do with the older version. You just can't get it to do the voice fluctuations and all these other different things that come along with it. And seems like I remember doing some other things that in the original demo that didn't necessarily do, because I already tried the thing of breathing heavy to see if it was what it would say on that, and it didn't really get that. But anyway, here's what I'd like to do. First of all, I want to ask it a question. You can ask it what if questions. Obviously, it's going to be something that it comes up with. But again, mine's going to be related to Bible stuff. What if Pilate released Jesus?
If Pilate had released Jesus, it could have altered the course of Christian history significantly. Jesus might not have been crucified, and the theological emphasis on his death and resurrection could have evolved differently. This might have influenced how Christianity developed its doctrines and spread across the world. It's an intriguing what-if scenario to consider. Anything in particular about the scenario you had in mind?
Do you think that if that didn't work, since we know what God is able to accomplish his task, he would have figured out a different way for it to happen?
Many religious believers think that if events had unfolded differently, God could have achieved his purposes through other means. In Christianity, for example, the belief in God's omnipotence suggests that he could have found another way to fulfill his plans. However, the specifics of what that would look like are open to interpretation and theological debate.
Okay, let me ask you another what if question. What if Eve didn't listen to the serpent?
If Eve hadn't listened to the serpent in the biblical story, the narrative of the fall might have been different. Without the original sin, the theological concepts of sin and redemption might not hold the same significance in Christian doctrine. This could have led to a different understanding of humanity's relationship with God and the need for salvation. It's a fascinating scenario to ponder, raising questions about how different the world and religious beliefs might be. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that the things would have transpired exactly as they were supposed to in the Bible. But one thing I learned from this idea is that if it tells me that there's certain things that if I do them and I make choices in life, how that they can make a big difference in the way things are going to go. And so it tells me as a person that I need to make my choices wisely and that there's consequences or rewards depending on what decisions I make.
Absolutely. The idea that choices have significant consequences is a powerful takeaway. It's a reminder that our decisions shape our lives and the world around us. Being mindful of the potential impact of our actions can help guide us toward wiser, more thoughtful decisions. Is there something in particular you're considering, or just reflecting on the broader pictures?
Just reflecting on the broader picture, but here's what I would like to do now. I want to do something that would be a little bit more fun. I want you to make up a rap using the 10 Commandments.
All right, here it goes. Yo, it's the 10 Commandments laid down from on high, guiding us to live right, and here's why. First up, no gods but the one, the OG. No graven images, don't you see? Respect God's name, don't take it in vain. Keep the Sabbath holy, take a rest, refrain. Honor mom and dad, give them their due. Don't murder, don't steal, and stay faithful and true. Don't bear false witness, keep your tongue from lies. Don't covet what's your neighbor's, that's where trouble lies. Living by these rules, we find the way to justice and peace each and every day. How's that for a 10 Commandments rap?
Not too shabby.
Thanks. Glad you liked it.
Last thing the last thing I want you to do is I want you to take on the role of David of the Bible, and I want to be able to ask you a few questions about to David.
Sure, I can respond from David's perspective based on his biblical story. What would you like to ask David?
David, how much courage did it take for you to be able to go up against Goliath?
Facing Goliath took immense courage, but my faith in God gave me strength. I trusted that the same God who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the bear would deliver me from Goliath. It wasn't about my own strength, but about trusting in God's power to overcome the impossible.
Okay, a lot of people usually like to ask the question, why did you pick up 5 stones instead of just 1 stone?
Though I believed God would guide my hand, taking 5 stones wasn't about a lack of faith, but rather preparedness. Goliath had 4 brothers, and I was ready to face them if they also challenged Israel. Being prepared doesn't mean wise.
Okay. And
anything else you... Sure.
Yes.
What's on your mind?
One last question. There's a lot of things I could ask about your life, but what advice would you give to Christians today? I know Christians weren't alive during your time, but what advice would you give us so that we could have the same courage and the same strong faith that you had?
I'd say to trust deeply in God's guidance and be anchored in faith, no matter the challenges you face. Remember that courage isn't the absence of fear, but acting on faith despite it. Stay humble, seek God's wisdom in all you do, and trust that He can use your life for great things, even when the odds seem overwhelming.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. If you ever want to chat or explore more questions, just let me know.
There's some more samples of what you can do with this. You can also use it as a study guide or a helper or whatever. Like you could be reading through. I'm just going to tell this to you real quick. Maybe I'll give an example of it in another video. Just trying to make this one shorter. You could be studying a particular passage and you could ask it to, you don't understand a particular word. You could ask it to define it. You could ask it to tell you the Greek behind it, the grammar. It does all that stuff. I know I did that with the original voice. I know it does that. And then, like I said, you can ask it to tell play a game. You can ask it to do Bible trivia. You can do all kinds of things. You can even have it help you to learn Greek and Hebrew. There's so many different things you can use with this particular tool. Again, this is just the beginning. It's just going to get better after this, and it's going to be able to do so many amazing things to make it easier for us to be able to have that quick access to an assistant that we need. Obviously, when it comes to Bible stuff, if you're looking at things, you need to rely more than just upon the AI, because it's pulling from all kinds of different areas. I found it to be accurate most of the time, fairly accurate. It's off here and there, not by much, but regardless of what source you use, other than going to the Bible and looking at the actual books that tell you about what the Greek words mean and things like that, you always want to back things up, because you want to make sure you're right and not relying upon even something like AI. So just use it as a tool, and I think it will be beneficial for you, and it can also be entertaining for, giving you uh, some sort of thing to do on the side whenever you're taking breaks from your Bible study or whatever. Or you can, like I said, they can even help you learn more about the Bible by you can have it to ask you questions about the book of Acts or about Moses or whatever, and it's going to be able to do all of those things. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. It's probably more thrilling to me than it is to people just listening to it. But if you get a hold of it and you're able to play with that, I think you will have a lot of fun with it. So until next time.